Hi, welcome to Unit 2. This is Ms. Clemens-Brenton, and in this unit we'll be learning to multiply and divide integers. In previous grades, you compared and ordered integers and placed them on number lines. You also learned to add and subtract integers concretely, pictorially, and symbolically. We will now extend our knowledge to multiply and divide integers in similar ways to eventually generalize rules for determining the signs of products and quotients. The focus of this video is using the bank model to multiply integers. So let's begin. If you recall from previous grades, we used yellow tiles to represent positive integers and red tiles to represent negative integers. For example, positive 2 would be represented with 2 yellow tiles. Negative 5 would be represented with 5 red tiles. We can also represent a zero pair with an equal number of yellow and red tiles. Remember, one red and one yellow tile will cancel each other out. Integers are the set of positive and negative whole numbers. So for example, negative 3, negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. Multiplying integers is really just repeated addition. For example, 4 times 5 really means 4 groups of 5. We can write this as 5 plus 5 plus 5 plus 5, and we can represent this with 4 groups of 5 yellow tiles. Similarly, 3 times negative 7 just means 3 groups of negative 7. So we could write this as negative 7 plus negative 7 plus negative 7. And we could show this by drawing 3 sets of 7 negative tiles. We can use a bank model to multiply integers. The bank is just an empty space where we can add or subtract groups of integers. The bank always starts with a balance of 0. The first integer will indicate the number of groups to deposit, which means add, or withdraw, which means subtract. The second integer tells us the size of the groups that we'll be adding or subtracting to the bank. So for example, 3 times 5. 3 just means positive 3, and 5 just means positive 5. So 3 times 5 means we're going to add 3 groups of positive 5. So if I want to add 3 groups of positive 5, I would add 3 groups of 5 yellow tiles. So when I add up what we have in the bank, I have positive 15. Example 2, 4 times negative 2. So again, that 4 doesn't have a sign in front of it, so that's positive 4. So 4 times negative 2 simply means add 4 groups of negative 2. So my balance again is 0, so I simply add 4 groups of 2 negative tiles. So 4 groups with 2 red tiles, and then my total in my bank is negative 8. Example 3, negative 5 times 3. So that means negative 5 times positive 3. So that means we're going to take out or remove 5 groups of positive 3. Now, we look at this bank and we think, if I want to take out 5 groups of positive 3, how am I supposed to do that when there's nothing in the bank? So think, what could we add to that bank that will still keep the balance as 0? Well, we can add 0 pairs. We can add 0 pairs as many times as we want, and the balance will still be 0. So for example, if I add 3 0 pairs, my balance in the bank is still 0, but I now have 1 group of positive 3 that I can remove. So I keep adding 0 pairs until I have 5 groups of positive 3 that can be removed. So right now we have 1 group of positive 3, and then I need 4 more groups because I have to remove 5. I now have groups of 3 positives that can be removed. So if I take out those 5 groups, I'm left with 15 negatives. So my answer is negative 15. Example 4, negative 2 times negative 7. So this means we're going to take out 2 groups of negative 7. So again, I look at my bank, my balance is 0. How am I supposed to take out groups of negative 7 if there's nothing in the bank? Well, I can add 0 pairs, because if I add 0 pairs, the balance doesn't change. So add in 0 pairs until I have enough to take out 7 negative tiles. So there's 7 negatives, so I could remove those, but I need 2 groups of 7 negatives. So I'll add in another group of 0 pairs, and now I have 2 groups of -7 that I can remove. And when I do that, I have 14 positives remaining. Please proceed to the next video in this lesson.